Well, a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Deck Sim live stream. Today it's the 29th of March 2022, 4 minutes past 5 in the evening. We're back in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and boy, I've got something special for you today. Wing42, who, as you well know, have made that amazing Blériot 11, which we flew last year, are just about to release their latest aircraft. It's the Boeing 247D, and Wing42 are very well known in the flight sim community for making quite detailed, in-depth aircraft. This is something I've seen along the lines of the aircraft at X-Men 11, the Challenger 650, with regards to in-depth and the running of engines. They're using their prop-o-tronic physics engine to make the engines work as realistically as possible, and it just recreates aviation as it was in the 1930s. We've got a simulation of radio range navigation, which I'd never even really heard about, and I've been learning a little bit about this in preparation for the stream today. We're in Hawaii for the first ever time on a Flight Deck Sim live stream on the island of Hilo. At the moment, we're flying to the Island of Maui to Kahului, I think it's pronounced. Flight time about 1 hour. On the way, we're going to go check out the Mauna Kea Observatory, and then we're going to try and use this radio range navigation to navigate to our destination. I've seen Wing42 in chat. If you have any questions about this aircraft, feel free to answer that in the video description. I think a couple of the devs will be coming in to help me out, probably, because I need all the help it can get when it comes to flying this aircraft. And I have done a couple of test sectors. Only once the engine caught fire, as you might have seen at the start of the stream. We're just going to be very careful managing this aircraft. And on top of that, the aircraft has just been updated to the latest version, beta version, until about 30 minutes before the stream, which is really cool. Jamie's blog, when's it coming out? It's the 2nd or 4th of April, I think, beginning of April. So I think around this weekend or so. Guys, just have a guess in chat what you think the price of this aircraft would be, or they're going to retail it out there. They're doing a little bit of an experiment with this aircraft. I'm absolutely flabbergasted on what the price is going to be. And when it is released, we're going to do another stream of this aircraft. We'll get some giveaways for you as well. But here she is. We've got the aircraft in United Airlines colours, as it was back in the 30s. I've not actually done anything to the aircraft. I've just literally loaded it up from a very quick test sector, resetted the config file so it is basically brand new, cold and dark. Let me just reset the camera, put ourselves into a lovely position here. Drone speed, we'll crank that down to the default setting. I think it's 12 or 10, and we'll have a look and see who's in chat today. Well, you can ogle at the amazing beauty of this exterior model. I know most of you know it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so this aircraft could easily retail at £35, £45, $55 to $60. It is just £20, I believe this aircraft. Was it £20 or $20? But basically, extremely cheap. They're just experimenting at the moment. If you look at the video description below, you'll have a link to the aircraft where you can find all about the development and pricing. It's incredible what they're offering with regards as a product for such a reasonable price as well. Eric, we've got co-devs here. We've got Empty Dress is our sound engineer. He'll be here to answer your questions too. My goodness, no pressure then on my behalf. I'm going to try and fly this aircraft as well as I possibly can. Who have we got here? Runa Hoddleston. Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. 2 years as a member, thank you very much. SuperCal10, I'm greatly interested in this aircraft. I saw a stream of it the other day, and it seems some genuine love and intention's gone into this. Yes, there's quite a few other people have been very fortunate to get early access, so go check them out, Twitch and YouTube, for a full dress down of this aircraft. I think I'm probably one of the first people who's got the latest beta updates though, which is pretty cool. Improvements to the sound, but I must stress this aircraft is still a work in progress. It is out soon. There are a few little bugs here and there, so it won't necessarily be representative of the final product. Empty Dress, hope you're doing well. 94 Tales, excited for this. Michael Kitching, I'm watching this in the pub with a beer. Very jealous of you, sir. It's my last day off. I'll have a little beer before I go to bed, I think. Wing42, I've said hello to. Abigail, Generic Pilot 1, I hope you're doing well. Caxor Donald, music down a bit, please. There you go, sir. Turn it down for you. Kahului Airport, thank you very much. I'll try my best to pronounce all these here. Adietia's Aviation, hello. Lisbon says, wow, I know, unbelievable, isn't it? Love the detailed livery in these times. They're amazing in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Let's actually have a quick look at the exterior model. So these aircraft I had, what are these engines here? Pratt & Whitney, a little bit about this aircraft. This was one of the first airliners, essentially. It didn't have a pressurized cabin, so you don't want to go much above 10,000 feet. It had de-icing boots. Very different to sort of like the DC-3. DC-3 and the DC-6 is space age in comparison to this. There's no flaps. It's the size of the wing, you really don't need flaps. Look at the surface area of this. So the approach and takeoff speed is around 60 miles an hour, so no flaps. But it has first aircraft to have, I think, trim all round, rudder aileron and pitch trim as well. But yeah, you just have a look in the. We'll have a look inside later, but the exterior model will go around here. Conventional controls, elevator, rudder, NC13361 Boeing, absolutely beautiful. The interior is just as good as well, but the in-depth simulation, we get all the engine management, we'll look at the engineering as well. We've got to load the passengers too. We're going to take, I think the full load of passengers, 8 passengers, all the way to the island of Maui today. But there we are, it's all chocked up, ready to go. Let's get ourselves on board. We'll dip ourselves under the wing and climb the stairs. We have a washroom, an animated washroom where you can use soap. I'll show you that shortly, but a typical interior of an aircraft of this era. I mean, look at this. I mean, a bit of clambering required to get on board, but very, very nice indeed. There we are. Let's. We've got the New York Times and popular sides. And oh, my name today is Captain A. Tennant. And we've got no longer Jim.
Minimums. Approaching minimums.
W. Jacobs is on board. But there we are. Let's pop ourselves into the cockpit. My buttons in Microsoft Flight Simulator. There we go. Superb. Jessica Hunt, thank you very much for becoming a member. Glad you're enjoying the content. I think you used to be a member in the past, but it looks as you Epaulet. Glad you're enjoying the content. You'll get invited to our members only Discord. Hope you enjoy using the custom motion chat as well. Thank you very much. MCP 2002, I need this add-on in my life. I know. Well, we haven't even started yet. Looks like the aircraft they made on the Chicken Run. Unbelievable, Liam. It's a classic aircraft, very well known in aviation. Looks really good, said Ed. I hope you're doing well in Toro Games. What's living in that long nose? I'll open it up later on. There's no weather radar on this aircraft. Actually, looking at the instrumentation panel, very unconventional. The 6-pack instrumentation's not here that we're used to on modern aircraft. Right in front of the pilot, I've got the undercarriage position, air temperature in Fahrenheit. We've got the temperature of all the cylinders, which you can select here. I haven't got any fuel loaded. I think I do have. The fuel gauges read 0 all the time. To read the quantity, you have to pull these out and let the plunger come back in, so you can see how many gallons you have. Ooh, let's set the parking brake. There we go. Airspeed indicator in miles an hour, altimeter, manifold pressure. For an engine, you're going to have one engine at a time, so you've got to switch between the manifold pressure gauges, so you can see the manifold pressure for each engine. There's the artificial horizon. The directional gyro isn't quite working yet in the mod. It will be upon release. They're going to have an accurate simulation of drift as well. Here's your clock. So we are live, absolutely live time at the moment, I think. Well, about 4 minutes off, but it is more just about sunrise here in Hawaii. Temperature of the oil. So it's the ambient temperature, I guess, 70 degrees Fahrenheit, oil pressure, fuel quantity. We need to manually pressurize the fuel pumps prior to engine start, fire extinguisher fed to the props, ammeter here for the battery. But what's also really cool with this aircraft, apart from the full simulation of the engines, is this thing here. So 1930s, you know, NDBs weren't really a thing yet. VORs you can forget about, GPS ILS, there's none of this here, but there was an early form of radio navigation called radio range. Now, this isn't even taught in the ATPL syllabus. Didn't even know anything about it. I read bits about it. But what Wing42 have done, they have implemented radio range navigation for the entire planet as it was sort of in the 40s and 50s, so you can navigate using this system. Now, I'm a complete novice when it comes to this. If you're on Instagram, check out my Instagram story. I have taken a screenshot of the radio range beacon we're going to use today to navigate to the Island of Maui. Now, there's a fantastic free utility available called Little Nav Map. And what you could do, you could download this completely for free. It's basically a map for your flight simulator. You can use it for X-Plane or Microsoft Flight Simulator, and it has the entire planet. All the airport's navs are stored. And what comes with Wing42 is a couple of Excel files which you can incorporate into this map, and it will show you the programmed radio range nav aids which are from the era. So, for example, we're here in Hilo on the island of Hawaii. I think it is actually called the Island of Hawaii, Hilo. And you'll see here, look, there is a radio range aid. Now, this isn't here anymore. In reality, this is not here. You have all these programmed into the sim. If I go to the United States, look, you can see that all these are radio range beacons which have been added by Wing42 for you to navigate as you did back in the 30s. Now, just to show you one of the PDF, or several of the PDF documents which come with this aircraft, if I bring this up here, you have a database of all the radio range worldwide facilities as they were, I think, in the 1940s or 50s. And look at this, it's just a 200-page document with regards to all these different radio nav aids. Now, it operates in the same frequency and range frequency band as an NDB does, but basically what you do, you just tune it up. Where's page 89 for us today? This is the one we'll be flying into later. You tune up the frequency in hertz, 442.
Minimums.
And you get two Morse code identifiers, Alpha and November, dot dash and dash dot. And based on what you hear is where you are. You've got to work out what quadrant you're in, and then when you're on the beacon you get a solid tone. You can only fly towards these beacons on essentially two different radials, well, four radials, two beams in different directions. It's incredible really what's available. And if you do get this aircraft, just to show you very quickly, you get a tutorial on radio range navigation, which is basically an entire flight from A to B. Let me just grab that document now, if I can remember where I put it. Documentation, radio range tutorial, there we go. So if you're new to it like I am, it talks about what radio range navigation is. You have the two Morse code identifiers, Alpha and November together is a solid tone, which is when you're on one of those radials, and how the radio works. You have fuse plugs which can blow, you have to replace the fuse plugs occasionally, how to set it up in the little nav map, and here's the tutorial look on how to navigate from A to B. So we're just going to do it as a very brief demonstration today. When we get a little bit closer, where's my little nav map? When we get a little bit closer, we're going to take off from here, VFR for the first bit. Want to go check out this amazing observatory, try and get up to 14,000 feet in this aircraft, which will be quite exciting about the engines catching fire. And then we're going to track directly to this radio range beacon, which I have already. If you go on my Instagram story, or if you're a member on the channel, have a look at the live stream channel chat. This one has radials based on 045, 135, 225 and 315, and we're going to track inbound on the 135, and I think the Morse code we need will be November if we're to the south of it, and Alpha to the east of it, but we'll talk about that later. I'm going to try and hand fly and do it that way, but I'll try my absolute best to explain how it works anyway. It's new to me, but it is all simulated with this incredible aircraft. Right, let's get rid of that, get rid of the mini nav map for now, but what we need to do is just get set up for the first part of our sector, which is going to be VFR. As I mentioned, we're going to take off from Hilo here, and ignore the... Why does Microsoft Flight Simulator always muck up the navigation? We're going to take off here from, I think we'll use runway 27, straight out departure. And if I switch over to Navi map, the little Navi map, we're going to actually follow this road, VFR. We're going to keep climbing and climbing and climbing until we get to about 14,000 feet, because I've got SimWorld Update 2 installed, which has the observatory on here, the Mauna Kea Observatory, which is really cool to see in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And then we're going to descend to 3,000 feet, route towards the radio range nav aid, and then we'll land at PHOG, I love that, which is the Island of Maui. Should take about an hour and 20 minutes or so. So yeah, really enjoyable. Cool, let me just catch up here with chat and see any questions have been asked there. Steven, this is incredible, so unique to anything out there, and what an effort it must have been to get all those beacons programmed in. I know, absolutely, and I'm not going to do it justice. I know nothing about radio range navigation. I'm going to have to try and hand fly and demonstrate how it's working as well, but there is in-depth PDF documents and tutorials which will come with this aircraft. But it was the first time I think a product like this has been out, which allows you to kind of really replicate how aviation was in the 30s there. Sorry, $20. I know, a ridiculous price. I couldn't remember if it was £20 or $20, but they're experimenting. They could easily charge 3 times that and they'd still sell a lot, but I think they just want to open up this aircraft to a few more people. It is a bit of a niche aircraft, so I think a lot of people will be snapping that up for $20. I hope you're doing well, Bobby Fuzzy. I think you're a fellow streamer. I hope you're doing well, buddy. 1933, most modern thing ever. I know. But anyway, just to demonstrate that radio very briefly, so don't drain the battery, I'll turn it on. So I need to push this down to turn on the master caution, radio power on. If I actually turn this music off, and then we'll tune up the radio. So that local frequency right next to us, the one we're not using for departure, is 204. So let me get into a better view here. Let me just turn on the radio. 204. There you go. So you can hear this Morse code, and it's sort of like a solid Alpha November, which means we're pretty much on one of the radials, but as you fly around, you'll see it changes. Now, because this is this type of radio unit, it picks up the same frequency band as AM radios. You know, we have the NDBs on or an ADF on modern aircraft. We can actually listen to AM frequency sometimes, like BBC World Service, if you could pick it up if you're so inclined to. But they've also programmed certain radio stations for you to use as well. So if I go over here to the main island of Honolulu, I think there's a radio station. There is, look, KGU 940. And what they've done, they've linked it to some classic 1930s radio for you to listen to, which is royalty free, so I can play it. So you can see here, 940. Now, if I change the frequency band to 940, and I think I need to put this off. Can you hear that? You can hear some 1930s music. How cool is that? And obviously we're really far away here, so we're about probably 300 or 400 kilometers away, but when you're over the top of the radio station, it's really loud and clear. So they've actually sort of simulated some sort of propagation, or the fact that the radio, as you move further away, is not so clear. So it's very quiet because of the fact we're so far away from the beacon. So yeah, there you are. We can turn that off because this will be draining the battery. If you actually have a look here at the ammeter, you can see, look, it's showing a discharge, so we'll turn the radio master off. We better get going, really, but let's turn that off. Oh, slight issue with the click spot. There we are. Oh, thankfully you can move the controls conveniently, and we've got the windows open for a nice immersion. There's just updated this latest betas. The engine's a little bit louder now, so we'll do our absolute best. So unnecessary, I love it. That's what's so great, isn't it? Unbelievable. Actual radio, this is pointless levels of details. I love it. I know, we love that in desktop simulators though, don't we? Right, I put my little bit of background music on. I would love to have the 1930s music, but it will drain my battery. So I'll put my new normal background music on. We'll definitely listen to some 1930s jingles shortly. Right, so to get these engines started, a lot of care and attention is required. You can easily overheat, overpressurize, destroy these engines. You've got to get them up to temperature, really treat them with respect. What Wing42 have, they have a system which I think it came from their P3D and Vega. It's called prop-o-tronic, and it's their own in-house physics engine. It just basically provides very realistic engine simulation. Things like the thickness of oil are simulated. I mean, I'll show you. You have to change the oil if you're operating in colder temperatures to a different SEA fluid. It's absolutely balmy. So let me get the little clipboard here. So here we are on the Boeing 24-7D. All the information here, all the pages is required. You get some basic information about the aircraft, its weight, rate of climb. Remember, there's no flaps on this, so Mark quoted some speeds for me to fly, which I'm going to use today. There's also some takeoff and climb performance figures in the main manual as well to follow, which I'll be using here. There's some general characteristics and pressure settings as well. So, aircraft is pre-fueled, a bit low on oil, so I'm going to top up the oil so we make sure we've got a full tank. It's very thirsty on oil. Very unique tank arrangement. The left tank holds 136 gallons, and then you have the right main tank which holds 70, and then an auxiliary tank which holds 66, which also equals 136. So, oh, sorry, nav overlay on. Thanks, guys. So sorry about that. So you can see the tanks are there. We're going to take a full load of passengers. So you click each one of these. You could take mail, bags. You can load it up right to the rim today, but we're just going to take a full load of passengers today, which is 10 passengers, and you press the Make It So button, and what this will do, it will start the boarding process, and you have two people that work for you on the ground. You've got Henrik Oldler from Germany, who will board the passengers and deal with passenger comfort and making sure they're happy, and then we have the aircraft mechanic who's topping up the oil accordingly. Now, there's no people you can see, but if you actually have a look here, you'll notice, I think, where is it there? There you go, you see how the filler cap's open? And it's actually loading up, simulating the loading of the oil, and you'll notice when he's finished loading up the oil, here. We've already got a full load of fuel, but there you go. Look, he actually closes it and shuts the arrows, and because we've got a full tank of fuel, it doesn't actually open the filler caps. The fuel filler caps are there. There's the left main tank filler cap, and there's the right auxiliary and right main tank all loaded. No baggage today. No, they got the carry-on baggage today. It looks like they're loading the oil, but you can see that the stairs are attached. Door is open, and you use your imagination that the passengers are all coming on board this aircraft. Looks like we have 2 more passengers to be loaded, or 3 by the looks of it, and then we'll be able to get the engine started. And I'll be very reliant on the team from Wing42 regarding engine management, because as you saw probably at the start here, I have had an engine catch fire, which I don't know how I managed it, but the actual single engine flying characteristics of this aircraft's pretty good. I think it was the first aircraft certified to fly single engine as well. And visibility cloaks all around, brilliant. Super Cal 10, already in love with the aircraft. I know it's going to be absolutely wicked when they finally get this released, which is, if all goes well, this weekend. Right, looks like all the passengers are loaded. We've got a full tank of fuel and oil. We're ready for the engine startup now. So the engines on this aircraft, Pratt & Whitney, I think they're Wasps or something like this. They don't have starter motors like you have on a modern aircraft, like a DC-6 or a DC-3. They're modern, remember. It has an inertial starter, so basically we need to crank up the engine ourselves, or the engineer will need to do that without getting chopped up into millions of pieces. And then once it's up to speed, they'll mesh it. There's a clutch which will mesh it onto the flywheel, the flywheel onto the engine, and it'll start the engine. But you've got to make sure you've got it primed, you've got the pressure up, you've got to do a few more extra steps before we can start the engine. So let me get rid of that clipboard for now. First things first, make sure the parking brake is set. Got to verify the fuel levels. So we are pre-fueled. We can pull the plungers out. So we've got 135 gallons in the left tank. In the right auxiliary tank, we've got 70 US gallons. We'll check the main right tank now. Pull this out. We've got full tank of fuel, look. So 70 plus 66 or whatever it was there. All looking good. So fuel levels are checked. Turn the engine selector switch to both, which is up here. And open the valve of one of your fuel tanks. I'll need a big help during the stream today. Like flying the Warrior when I was doing my hour building, you can only feed from one of the tanks at a time, so you've got to keep reminding me every 10 minutes, hey Flight X Sim, don't forget to switch tanks over. So we're going to go from left to right, left, then back to aux on, just switching between all of them, try and keep the fuel balanced each side. Remember, there's 2 tanks on the right hand side, 1 large tank on the left. So we'll start with the left tank on. 10 minutes after takeoff, we'll switch to right. Then 10 minutes again to left, then to aux. So keep reminding me. Yeah, Listerman, can we get your change tanks in chat, please? Whenever I need to change tank, because I'll forget for sure. Right, so we've got engine selectors to both. We're going to take fuel from the left tank here. And it should... there's no fuel pumps on this aircraft until the engine started, so you've got to pump manually. I think it's... should be working now. Yeah, so you see, let me just turn the music down here, or off. You see here, look, I just made the wobble pump move slightly and the fuel pressure built, but you see how it's now dropping off? I need to keep wiggling this pump during the engine start to make sure we have sufficient fuel pressure. So using your eyes here, and you'll see as I pump it, see how the fuel pressure's building? So you've got to keep pumping, 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 pumping. And if you stop, look, the fuel pressure just slowly drops over time. So during the engine start, I've just got to make sure that we get that pumped up to around 5 pounds per square inch or whatever the pressure is. And then we'll get the engine started. So that's all working as expected. I think the only thing we have left to do is prime. Get some fuel into the cylinder, and then we're good for engine start. So engine is cold, you'll need to prime it. Open the main valve of the primer. So we're going to start engine number 1 first. So main valve on, engine selector left, and we're going to prime it 3 times. So 1. Oh, much better. During the test set or the beta version I used, the primer was a bit awkward to use, but it's superb now. So we've got that, puts fuel into the cylinder, which aids with the engine start. I think it's like a vaporized form of fuel. Well, if the engine's warm, you don't need to prime it. So that's good. Turn on the master ignition switch, which is this one. Pull is off. So that's now on. Ignition to both. It's going to be what we need to do. Mixture to full rich on engines 1 and 2. we are. Engine 1 and 2, mixture's fully rich, so we've got fuel, we've got a spark, we need to crank the throttle up about 10% as well. If you leave them at idle, the engines will cut off when they're cold. And we need full pitch on the RPM as well. The yellow levers here are throttle locks and lever locks as well to stop them from moving. So there we are, max our fly pitch, mixture's 100%, we've got fuel selected, we've cranked the throttle, and we're now ready for engine start. So we're going to get our German man outside, ready for us to start the engine, so I need the clipboard for this, and we're going to get him to wind up the flywheel. Here we go. So he's putting the ladder in place. This would have been incredibly dangerous. And he's now attaching the starter crank to the left engine. He's going to be stood right next to it. There's the cranker, and he's cranking it up. Hopefully, first time start. We've got fuel primed. During test sectors, it took me 4 or 5 attempts to get it started. So he's cranked it up. We need to pump the fuel in. Pump, 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 pump. And then we'll give it a start. Let's do it. Mesh flywheel. Not quite, not quite. So we'll prime it again and get some fuel in. I completely forgot to show you as well. Additional maintenance tasks are here. You could change the type of oil. You could drain it, change the oil, use a higher grade, or a lower grade, sorry, if it's a different temperature. How the radio range works. Yeah, very good. Damn it, not a first time engine start. Right, let's try again. I hope Wing42 was there to spot anything I might have missed. So we're just going to prime it a couple more times. I don't want to over prime it. Actually, if you do over prime it, what's going to happen? I'm not so sure. We'll give it a couple more squirts of fuel, and let's try again. Wind up flywheel. Thank you very much, Jack Norton, our aircraft mechanic. Increase the fuel pressure. Right, lots of pressure. Mesh. We're in business. Yes. Excellent. Yeah, I don't want an engine fire. Right, looks like it's all started okay. So I want to have 1100 RPM. There we are. The sounds are amazing. The sounds aren't quite finished yet as well. You'll notice actually we're going to start the right engine here. Might have to turn this in down slightly. It could be 2 seconds. The audio for the crank is simulated at the moment, but it will be, I think, upon release, but don't quote me on that one. Right, so we'll just prime engine number 2 now. So engine selector right, prime, 1, 2, 3. Wind up the flywheel. Oh, he needs to get his ladder in place first. I'll get pumping the fuel whilst we wait for the ladder to be attached. Pump, pump, pump. Fire engine's there just in case. Is he there externally? Oh yeah. That was the cutest fire engine I've ever seen. There we are. So he's winding it up. To be fair, you might not be able to hear it if engine number 1 was running anyway. Just wait for it to say mesh flywheel. Let's get that pressure. We're going for a first time engine start on this one. There we are. Mesh. Oh yes! First time! Can't teach that. Beautiful, right. Good start on engine number 2. RPM's increased to 1100. You can see the oil temperature increasing already on engine number 1. It's 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It'll increase on number 2. Oil pressure is initially quite high, because remember the oil's going to be quite thick because it's cold. But as it heats up, it becomes less viscous. And you'll see the pressure will change. There's a gyro coming alive. There we are. So put the engine selector to off. Main valve, I think I leave this on. You'll notice, look, even though, let me shut these up because it'll be very loud during takeoff. Just makes it a little bit more peaceful in here. Oh, that's better. You'll notice that the battery's still discharging. That's because we don't have enough RPM. So if we increase power slightly, you'll see, look how the ammeter begins to show a charge, so you've got to be very careful on the ground. You don't put too much electrical items on, otherwise you'll discharge the battery quickly. So we'll just go back to 1100 RPM. Just want to get things warmed up nicely, and there really isn't much to it. There's no flaps to deploy. We'll check the flight controls. We can do a feather check, but every time I've done that, I've been unable to unfeather the engine due to my lack of knowledge, so I'm not going to be using that unless an engine fails. And we'll put the nav lights on, so the battery's discharging, and that's it. We'll just taxi out. We're going to taxi out to runway 27 today. The surface wind here is 219 or 220 at 7, so it's just going to be straight ahead, left, right. We'll go full length today, and you really need to use differential braking. So in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I've actually assigned F11 and F12 to use as differential braking. You can't just use rudder alone, unfortunately. Right, so parking brake is off. Increase power. Let's see if we... I left the chocks in. I've left the chocks in! That's why we're not moving. Noob. Right. Actually, I'll blame Jack, my engineer. Previous page. There we are. Remove wheel chocks. Thanks, Jack. Removing wheel chocks. There we are. We're moving. Oh, watch out, Jack. There we go. Right, so you can use rudder and a combination of rudder and differential brakes. I have no knowledge taxiing around in tail draggers. Doors closed. Yeah, doors are closed. Oh! What's happened? I've got an engine that just died. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Right, why has that happened? Remember, this is beta, but I should think it's something I've definitely done. What we'll do is get to the whole point. We'll attempt to restart engine number 1. Oh dear, oh dear. That didn't happen on the test sector. Oil pressure was too low. Oil pressure. Oh really? What's my... Ooh, crikey, yeah. How am I going to increase my oil pressure though? Just use a higher power setting? It's very low on engine number 2 as well. Wow. Yeah, exactly. It's all part of the game. It's single engine taxi to save fuel. Yeah. Yeah, oil pressure, well, it's even low on engine number 2. Look, really low. How do I keep a higher oil pressure setting? I mean, I've got a full tank. That means, yeah, it looks like the right engine could die any second. Let's see if we can at least get to the whole point. Please don't catch fire. Oh dear. You were saying that the engines were dodgy back in the day, boss. They are. Yeah, don't worry. Jack, the engineer, is following me on his horse with the crankshaft to start engine number 1 at the whole point. Unbelievable. Right, a little bit too much differential braking. Just hope engine number 2 stays alive. Oil pressure's so low. Oh, it's not looking healthy on engine number 2 either. No, it's gone. It's gone. Right, Jack, get your horse out. Come here. Reduce oil temperature into increased thickness. Unbelievable. Right, I need some 1930s music on soon. No, wrong music. That's the end of the stream music. Not quite yet. We'll get there, guys. We'll get there. Right, so 2 engines are overrated anyways. Crank 1 on, and you now have a glider. RIP. Another successful 1930s flight. Right, so let's get the parking brake on. Working backwards. I shouldn't need to prime the engines because they'll be warmed up a little bit here. And I should be able to just call Jack on his horse to get them here. Now, I'm using a different version here of the aircraft, so I don't know if there was an update which has made it change slightly because I've done everything exactly the same. Right, let's wind up flywheel. Let's do engine number 1 again first. Right, he's got his ladder out. Bury on back on the Blériot. We'll get there. Where's my mouse cursor gone? Cheers, Jack. Thanks, mate. He's just passed me a cigarette as well. Right, let's build that fuel pressure up again. Oh dear. Wind it up one more time. I might have to prime it. Fuel is a must. We have plenty of fuel. Fuel pressure though, we need to make sure we've got loads of that. Right, let me just prime it. It shouldn't need priming in reality because it's warm, but we'll give it a bit of gas in the cylinder. And then we need to quickly get engine number 2 started. Get takeoff before the engine dies. Right, let's try again. Oh, no! What have I done? Why has it caught fire? It's not even on. Oh, no! I think I flooded the engine, that's why. Jack, run! Now what do I do? Well, I could now see I've over-primed it basically. I put too much fuel on here. Well, there could be a good opportunity to show you the fire extinguisher system. This is going to plan. Right, you do this, you pull this out, and there you go. It first ever time I've had a fire on chat. But there you go. We can put the bottle in. You can see it's discharging whatever this is, sort of fluid. And there you go. Fire should be extinguishing. No, I think this is an evac. Oh dear, oh dear. It was nice knowing you, Jack. Right, what I think I'm going to have to do is reload. I don't think there's any other way to sort it out here, but I'm not sure. So basically, how did it catch fire? Well, I'm guessing it caught fire because I put too much fuel in priming it. But why did the engines cut out? I have no idea. No idea. I have got the previous beta version, which I can revert to if needed, but I want to try one more time with this one. So what I'm going to do is, I've already demonstrated, you know, the radio navigation. If I start back on stand, go straight to the engine start. Too much fuel rip, I know, Wing42, oh dear, oh dear. Right, so what I'm going to do is go back to the main menu. I don't think I can restart. Is there a way of restarting the flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator without going back to the menu? I certainly don't know how to do that. Let's just go back here, and then one of you guys will be able to show me that. Anyway, we managed to travel about 100 meters. Right, let's start the same place. Set its departure. Fly. And it should be the same time. Weather's live. It does show thunderstorms, but it isn't the case. Check oil types there. So what do you reckon? I need a different type of oil? So basically what has got us into that situation is that both engines died because the oil pressure was too low. I need to have escape and then restart, thank you. Oh my god, I'm in the air. No, I don't want to be here. That's just, I swear I put the airport. Yeah, I didn't realise that. Maybe lean the engine one taxiing? No, that won't change oil pressure. Fuel pressure maybe, but cylinder head temperature, but not oil pressure. Set as departure. There we are. Thought I'd done that already. Did custom spawn. Whoops. Kevster said helicopter, helicopter. Right, I need thicker oil. Heavier weight oil. So, when... guys, I haven't flown GA for 10 years. Just remind me, heavier weight oil, would that be... Which grade? We'll get him to change it. There we are. So, let's just go to here. Now, I think I need to rotate these switches. Both. Left on. Let's have a look here at the oil. So, where's my clipboard? We'll get this right. We'll get this right. Listening to you guys and tell me, advise me which oil I need. So we've got... When you see these temperature ranges for outside, we have SAE 30 at the moment, which is 20 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the temperature range we're in. Outside air temperature right now in the sim is 70 degrees, so we're right in here. Maybe SAE 50, but wouldn't that be a thinner oil? High number, heavy the weight. Should we go for 50 then? Should we go for 50? Tell you what, I'll wait for some advice. We've got some merchandise here. Does it have oil cooler flaps? It does. Ah, it does. Now, where were they prior to the start? I think they need to be open, don't they? Maybe they were closed. Could that be why? I don't know about oil cooler flaps. Put 50 in. No, it's thicker because it's viscous for higher temps. Got you. Right. Well, are we going for SE 50 then? And then I'll make sure I've got the oil shutters open. well, there's only one way to find out. Let's go for SE 50. Okay, right. Install wheel chocks. He's going to drain the oil for me. And check oil temp after start. Yeah, because I didn't check actually. No, he's going to drain it, then put it there. And actually, what's quite cool, look, if you look at the oil pan, you can see it filling up with oil. I swear it did on the test sector. Anyway, we'll get there. It's a good job we're not doing 2 sectors. Sounds like a plan. Sounds good, Wing42. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, cowl flaps or oil flaps, etc. need to be open when not moving through the air. There's no cooling from the airflow on ground or at slow speed. Okay, very good. So this is an educational experience for all of us. I think it's quite exciting this happened. Jack's going as fast as he can. As soon as he's done engine number 1, we'll change to engine number 2. Meanwhile, whilst he's changing... So I don't want to do any more than that. And let's just wait for the passengers to be loaded. T-Bob 83, hello Captain, hope you're doing well, buddy. Thanks for popping in. Don't think the locks have any effect, it just locks the levers in place. I guess you're talking to someone else there, Freckles. Music's a bit too loud, sorry about that. I shall turn it down. There you go. Jack's horse got caught in the prop, unbelievable. Yeah, we'll need Jack just to follow us behind on his horse again. Stephen, at least you're making these mistakes for me to learn them from before having a go myself. Oh, I don't like being the guinea pig. Joseph, 50 might be too thick when start climbing to cooler temperatures. Guys, you watch those engine instruments like a hawk. Gotta get there in one piece. Oh dear. Throttle's 10%, thanks Abby, I remembered. That's about there. We are live weather, live time at the moment in Hawaii. Moving the passenger stairs. Just make sure we're getting fuel pressure when I pump it. Yeah. Okay. Just make sure the chocks are removed. Chocks removed. Cheers, Jack. And get up that ladder. Here we go. Take 2. Get the fire engine ready. It's already been used today. Excellent. There we go then. He's putting in the old crankshaft. Starter cranks in. Okay, fuel pressure mesh. Yeah, not liking it. I don't want to overprime the engines again. It's that thicker oil. Who's cranking that? My invisible engineer, Jack. See, it did this on the test sectors when I didn't prime them. So, but I'm a little bit concerned that the over-priming caused the fuel to cause the engine fire last time out. Just build that fuel pressure up again. Right, I think I'm going to have to try and prime to control E work in the 1930s. Let's just give it a couple more squirts. 1, 2. And it is on left engine, it is. Okay, let's pump. Okay, we're in business. Good start on engine number 1. And the issue last time was I had insufficient oil pressure. The oil pressure was on 0, wasn't it? So 1100 RPM. So we've got to keep the oil pressure high. Right, starting engine number 2 then. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's more than enough. Wind up flywheel, please, there. Keep calling him Jim, it's Jack. Pedal faster. Now oil pressure's really high. I know, well, the problem was it was far too low. It's at 100, it's really high now. Right, he's winding up the screw. She'll be fine. Obviously the oil's cold, so that pressure should come down. Fuel pressure is up. Ah, I've lost the clipboard. Right, first time on engine number 2. 1100 RPM, oil pressure's increasing. Still very high, oil temperature's there. Going to blow gasket soon, God. Well, there's only one sort of stream I've crashed. The likelihood of that happening again is extremely high. But, yeah, the oil pressure is really high on engine number 1. Like, really high. And that's the... I need to get that to go down. So I need the oil to get warmer. The problem was last time it was at 0. Now it's at 120. Oh dear. Yeah, we need to get the oil to heat up. It's going to be really thick still. So I don't want to put too much power on because it's going to I don't know, overpressurize anything. What's... oh, God, I've got the oil. Now, how do I get rid of the oil pans? Oh dear, oh dear. I think they were here. There we are. Oh yeah, still got the bug where I can't remove the oil pans. This happened on a test sector. Place oil pans in place. You press this, it says removing oil pan, but it says placing and it just stays. I think if I taxi off though... Oh no, we got rid of one of them. Yeah, I think they just pop back. But I think if I start taxiing, they do disappear. There's only one way to find out. Right, parking brake off. There we are. Let's remove them anyway. Right, so... Oil pressure, still okay. On the right engine it's a little less, 110, but 120 on the left engine. I really don't want to set takeoff power with such a high oil pressure. go to idle, it'll cut the engines as well. So I'm just going to keep the RPM at about 1,000. Literally dying here. Unbelievable, Todd. Hey, we've got to get up to 14,000 feet in a second. Just trying to use a bit of differential braking. It was about here. Well, no, I got a little bit further last time before the engines caught fire. But this is once you get this aircraft airborne and flying, extremely rewarding. You're cooling the oil too much. Shut the oil flaps. Okay. Thanks for advice. I'll tell you what. I'll go halfway. Still, the pressures are sky high. And what I need is that PMDG where they have that visualizer so you can see what's going on. I bet everything would be in the red right now. Look at the compass jumping up and down as I brake. So a little bit of differential braking to the right. Close the oil shutters, idle. Right, let's close these oil shutters. Definitely going off what the devs say. Okay, looks like the oil pressure is slowly dropping. I'm going to taxi all the way to the whole point here. We're idling at about 900 or 1,000 RPM. And the pressure is slowly decreasing. Okay, that's good. So how much smoke's coming out the rear of the engine? It's not much. I found on test sectors, if a lot of smoke was coming out the back, that was not a good sign. Tap the gauge, probably just stuck. Can you actually do that, I wonder? It's actually a click spot when you do click it, but they are dropping. The pressure is dropping. Look, 90. That's much better. Oil temperature. Well, I actually don't know what's the best operating pressure and temperatures for the oil. I couldn't find them quoted in the manual. But that's a good sign. Together, with me flying and you guys backseating, we're absolutely doing a fantastic job. I love it. Right, we'll talk a little bit about the takeoff when it gets to the whole point. Not doing a feather check. We're almost an hour in stuff the ground. It's like we're on VATSIM at a VATSIM event. Right, look at that. Oil pressure's now at about 90. Coming up to the whole point here. Alright, so far so good. There's the whole point for 2.6. And Wing42 or anyone else in chat, do you reckon it'd be safe to take off? I don't want the engines to catch fire as soon as I get airborne. Right, just set the parking brake. Should I stop first? No, our parking brake is on. So let's have a look here. Oh, pressure's still quite high. I've just set a little bit more power there. So it's, if I set as soon as I set takeoff power, that's going to skyrocket, isn't it? Only one way to find out. It'll be fine. The pilots in the 1930s were brave, absolutely. But we've gone further than last time. We're actually at the whole point now. Ooh, a little bit of smoke coming out the engine. It's fine. It'll warm up. I'd wait a bit to warm up though. Thanks, Wing42. Well, whilst we wait for the engines to warm up a little more. Oh yeah, cylinder head temperatures. Yeah, they're approaching 100 degrees Fahrenheit now in all these different areas here. Okay, so it's not going to conk out on me, is it? Oil pressure, right. Whilst that's doing that, we'll talk a little bit about the takeoff. Let me get my little mini nav map up. So we're going to use VFR flying initially. We're going to follow, basically take off a straight line left turn, follow this road, climb up to, well, as high as we can before the engines explode, fly past the observatory, which is about 13,000 feet, and then we're going to descend all the way down to 3,000 feet, pick up this radio range beacon here, fly inbound on the, what radial was it, the 135 radial from this. Remember, there's only 4 radials essentially from a radio range beacon, and then once we're there over the beacon, we're going to continue visually towards PHOG to land on the northeasterly runway here. Right, any instrument panel lighting to turn on there is, all down here. You've got compass lights, nav lights, I've got it all off here, engine instrument lights, pitot heater, nav lights. You can see, look, the ammeter showing a discharge at this stage. Right, pressures at about 110 pounds per square inch, temperature 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Right, I'm tempted just to have a go. I mean, is it warm up now? Warm up to yet? I don't know. Gonna have the sun in my eyes, everything against me. Takeoff then. Takeoff will set 36 inches, which is down here, just under the red range. Not probably a good idea. 2200 RPM is going to be the RPM shown. Once we get to about 1,000 feet, we'll set our climb power, which is 32 inches, and then we'll reduce the RPM on the engines to 2100 RPM until we get to our cruise configuration. Full throttle, warm it up faster. Thanks, MK. What could possibly go wrong? It should drop with higher RPM. Now let's just go. Well, let's see what could happen. Oh, we got some old prop liner pilots going. No, you're crazy. Right, parking brake released. Toga's in chat. Make a note of the takeoff time. There's no timer on this aircraft, just an old school clock. Oh, look at that. It's on the hour. 6 o'clock. British summertime. 1700 Zulu. There we go. Oh, my goodness me. Oh, pressure looks okay. And I do not want to set too much power here. Toga maybe. Going straight back on the ground, ladies and gentlemen. It reminds me of the Blériot stream. The last time we flew Wing42, we actually technically crashed on that one as well. Right, you ready, guys? I'll open the window for a bit so you can enjoy the engine sounds on departure because they are superb. Right, parking brake set, and we're going to increase power now to... Oh, Nat, thanks. Get rid of that for you guys. Can't see it on my screen. So 36 inches is going to go underneath that. Oil pressure has dropped off a little bit further as well. So here we go. Turn off the music as well. Oh, look at the oil pressure! Oh, don't want to go in the red range. Right, we're going to do a D-rated takeoff. 33 inches. Right, takeoff power's set. Parking brake off. On our way. I love it! Airspeed's alive, 50 miles an hour, tails coming up, 60. Can we actually get airborne today? There we are, airborne. I want to just reduce a little bit of power here. I've already reduced power. There's 80. Want to climb at about 110. Gears coming up. Oh. Hang in there, engines. Oh, did I just notice a drop in RPM? Right. Okay, oil pressure is off the scale. It's above 120. Let me just reduce power a little bit more. So the issue I had before was the oil. We didn't have enough oil pressure. Now it's way too high. I've taken a lot of power off here. So usually climb power is about 32 inches. I'm at 26 here. 28. Open the oil flaps, thanks. That will help reduce the pressure, I guess. Oh my goodness me. So does that actually help pressure? I mean, I'll keep the temperatures down, I guess. There's no after takeoff checklist, really. There's no flaps. We've got the Q&A pressure setting here. Okay, well, it hasn't caught fire yet. Okay, look, oil pressure's dropping. Oh, yes. 110 inches. God, it's like the hardest thing I've ever done. No autopilot either. Right, we're going to make a left turn, follow this road anyway. We've got to get up to 14,000 feet somehow. Shut the window now. There we go. Oh, perfect. Piece of cake. So best climb speed 110 miles an hour. Oil pressure is reducing. It's no longer on the maximum scale. Flying about 110 miles an hour. And there should be a road. Loud. Road here on the left we're following. Manual flying all the way throughout the flight. Absolutely, yeah. We're flying manual. We can't have no other choice. No autopilot on this. Okay, so oil pressure is still quite high, 110 pounds per square inch. We've got fuel pressure. Remind me to change the fuel tank over in about 5 minutes. Oil temperature seems okay, but I want to keep those pressures. I don't know. The engines are probably ripping themselves apart. But I have no clue. Right. It's going to be hard to follow, but we want to follow the mountain range. Basically follow the sun. A bit of radio range navigation later, but we are well on our way. This is superb. Trimmed out at 110 miles an hour. It's really nice to fly. Huge wing on this, massive surface area. That's why it doesn't need flaps. There's an alarming amount of smoke coming from both engines. We need to lean the mixture as we climb. Oil pressure's very high again. Yeah, just reduced a bit of power there. There we are, pressure's coming back down now. Need to keep that oil cool. Are they twin wasp engines? They are. It's climbing quite nicely. Airspeed's dropping off a little bit here. And unfortunately, flying towards high terrain. Okay. Might just lean the mixture off a little bit here. We're only at 2,500 feet. Oh, the pressure is so high. Oh, Pratt & Whitney, sorry, not wasps. Wing42, any advice? I mean, on my test sectors, I've got maxing out on my oil pressure here. I have nowhere near full power. Well, I actually have a lot of power set. 32 inches. Okay, that is increasing my airspeed loads, but it's just too much. Oil pressure is so high. Reach out. It's very hard to reach out, Tyler, whilst flying here. Captain to developers, I strongly suggest putting in check engine fire on checklist and maybe even in multiple spots. Unbelievable. Temperature quite low too, shutters close more. Oh, they are quite low. Right. Yeah, I think let's go halfway here. Carburetor, that's only going to be for carburettorizing, isn't it? Look at the oil pressure, guys. It's off the scale. I might not be able to see the observatory today, guys. I'll show you on Little Nav what we're doing. We're just following this road around here and want to get up to here. 4,000 metres, about 13,000 feet. Ain't gonna happen at the moment. Oh. Do you have a parachute cap? No. Got the sun in my eyes as well. Now I'm wishing I didn't have the higher grade oil. Can we change it mid-air? Surely high oil pressures because the viscosity is too high, it's too cold. No, yes, I agree. So actually, we need to close these fully, really. Get the oil up to temperature, which will thin it out. Because I've got this very high grade oil on board at the moment. Because the issue on the first flight, when the engines caught fire, was the fact that the oil pressure was too low. But I don't like running such high pressure. I mean, it's doing okay. We're up to 4,500 feet. We're climbing at 1,000 feet per minute. I've got a much lower power setting I usually would have for climb. Climb's usually 32 inches. I'm at 27 here, which is like the low cruise power setting. We're climbing at about 110 though still. We do need to start leaning the mixture off actually to get more power. That'll increase the center head temperatures, might help increase temperatures. I don't know. Oh, we are leaning the mixture slightly. You definitely need to do that when you get above 5,000. I heard that, you know, the engines run really rough otherwise. Lean mixture, increase RPM. I am on max RPM still. I've got max RPM 2200. Keep leaning the mixture. But oil pressure is still really high. They've definitely changed something around from the previous beta I used. But it's flying. It's no rough running or anything like that. It's flying live still completely broken. I've got it up and running. Yeah, that's still not working. I don't think I've got the right time. That looks more like a sunset. Oh, I've got the time wrong. We're on real time. There we are. Now we're on real time. That's better. I was beginning to think, why is it getting darker? There we are. Change tank, thanks guys. So we're going to go from left tank to right tank. How long have we been able for? 8 minutes, haven't we? So yeah, we'll call it 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we'll go back here. Right. Well, despite the high oil pressure, we're doing okay. You know, this is the mountain I'm trying to get up to 14,000 feet, which I did do earlier. 110 knots was our best climb speed for 2 engines. Keep leaning off that mixture. I'm going to just take a little bit more power here. We're doing okay. Mixture's half as much as that. I'll lean it a little more. I just want to get to the cruise so I can produce power. But do remember, this is still a work in progress, as mentioned at the start of the stream here, so it isn't representative of the final product. There's probably some tweaking needed, but we're doing okay. I mean, I think the thick oil is why we're having such a high grade oil, is why we're having such a higher pressure setting, but I'm really a little clueless when it comes to these sort of things. Wing42 said it, so I trust him. Well, absolutely, if he said that there. Okay. Decrease the mixture by a lot. Radials have a much wider tolerance range than modern pistons. Got you. Well, we'll go back to 50% then. Okay, still got a lower power setting. Oil coolers are completely closed. The temperatures are okay. 60 degrees. I think, was it maximum was what, to 160? I think it says in one of the manuals. Not sure. Tank, we don't need to do the tank at the moment, best for now, we've only just done it. We'll change it again at about 18 minutes past. And this is the road we're following up here. Let me just get my little nav map up. There we are. So we're following this road. We'll be at Beam Mauna Kea, which is where the observatory is shortly. We'll see how high we are, if we can make a little excursion to the north. We should be keeping the road on our left, really. Diego, are you testing the 146? Yeah, last live stream we were in the Just Flight 146 in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Hey, also Pigeon, hope you're doing well, buddy. There we are, nearly 8,000 feet. Pressure's still high. Nothing would appear to be out of the ordinary. Am I going to reach 14,000 feet though to see the observatory on our right? Me don't think so. Oh, a little boost of power there. So if we have an engine failure, we do a 180, glide back down here because we're continuously climbing here. It's nicely in trim. You can see with this power setting as well, look, the battery's going to be charging very quickly. There you go, look. You can tap it, look, I love it. Don't need the pitot heater today, don't need any lighting now. Wonderful. John Padfield, nice on the edges of the red exit copper, you'll never miss an engine failure. Unbelievable. Hey TH, I'll amazing stream time, thank you very much. We got airport eventually. No hands. I think if I press C though, I can actually take control of the aircraft in this view. It does disable the drone camera. Spin a rudder to get the wings level. There we go. And reverse vector fuel as roll. What a racket. What an era. There we are, nearly 10,000 feet, ladies and gentlemen. I think the peak's 14,000. If we can get high enough, we'll start following this road. I can't be too low at the moment to turn northbound. You can only rely on the compass at the moment. The DG is going to be modelled upon release, I believe. It's just currently not working in the work in progress version. It's beta. Anti, you can test out the carb heat. Exhaust air goes, re-enters the engine, thus producing more heat, so it might increase the oil temperature, thus reducing pressure. Interesting. Let's try it. The pressure, oil temperature seems quite cold still. It's about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Oil pressure's still off the gauge. Let's put the carbs on then. production RPM there. I need to further lean the mixture off, I think, as well. Too much. There we are, I can hear the engine. RPM increase. It's climbing really nicely, 1,000 feet per minute. This could go up to 25,000 feet, believe it or not, but it was unpressurised, so you want to be on oxygen. Ah, look, there's the observatory. Can you see it? That's what we want to go fly over. Just need a little bit more height. Bob, there's a break in the engine audio every 2 seconds. What's causing it? Is there? Is that the stream, maybe? It sounds fine on my side. There's 11,000 feet. Still doing 110 miles an hour. I keep saying knots, don't I? Ah! Oil pressure's beginning to fall! Maybe you were right. It's no longer beyond 120 pounds. Temperature's quite cold though, but there's not much I can do about that. I've got the oil coolers closed. I've got the carb heat on hot. We're trying to get everything warm as possible. Saw a little rainbow there. Yes, excellent. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now I'll start edging a little bit further north towards the observatory. We've had climb power now pretty much since after takeoff all the way. Speed's good, 110. I don't want to set full climb power because the mixture's quite lean. On an aircraft like this, I know on your little Cessna Lycoming engine you're going to knock it and cause problems, but probably on a big empty cylinder like this it could take a bit more punishment, I don't know. Guys, still so far away. 14,000 feet we need, there's 12,000. Only need another couple thousand. That's where we started. Start turning a little bit more northbound. Get ready to switch those tanks over in a couple of minutes. So we're on the right main at the moment. We'll go back to left, and the next one we'll do aux on, just to balance out the fuel each way. Petrich just joined. Why are both fuel gauges saying 0? It's just the way it were. You've got to pull these out to find out how much fuel you have. There you go, fuel quantity gauge, pull and release. Why and how that exactly works, I don't know. Modern aircraft would have sort of a little ball there, wouldn't it, with the tank level? But back then they didn't have such technology, I guess. Cool, we're climbing well now. Look at this. Thinner air. Oil pressure is sensible. 90 pounds per square inch. Oil temperature a bit cold. Basically, the aircraft is very happy. Right, let's head towards the observatory. Try our hands on radio range navigation. I can't believe this is our first ever time in Hawaii. I think there's a couple of observatories. There's a big satellite dish over there. What's the height now? 13,000 feet. Steve, what do you think would be a quicker way to top a Boeing 247 or a hand crank cable car? Unbelievable. With Jack cranking it, the engineer, you're probably the cable car. Look at this. Absolutely sensational. Micro pressure, oil pressure good, fuel good, on fire good. Unbelievable. Music man started to get a headache, a bit disorientated too. Yep. I mean, absolutely. At this height, on around oxygen above 10,000, you'd want to be on oxygen. I don't think it simulates hypoxia in Microsoft Flight Simulator. But yeah. This aircraft service ceiling 25,000. I think a lot of pilots did experience hypoxia. Certainly on the Wikipedia page, it would suggest that. Anyway, we're sort of heading like northeast now. Let me just find Navi map. Yep, there we go. So we're going to go over here, and then we're going to tune up this radio range beacon here. we are. So this temperature and height, I want to sort of keep everything closed. I think I might turn that carburetor heat off now. So I lost my mouse cursor. There we are, but we'll keep the oil shutters closed. These are controls for aileron trim here. I'm not sure what the red switches do. There's 14,000 feet. That's the height of the peak here. Going to set cruise power, which is pretty much already set. Cruise speed's about 180, 190 miles an hour. So let the aircraft accelerate. Check out these observatories. Slowly descending here. Change the fuel tank. Thank you very much. Back to left. If you can hear me, this is the Mauna Kea Observatory, ladies and gentlemen, on the island of Maui, or not, island of Hawaii, Hilo. Mega. Absolutely sensational. Those poor astronomers, imagine the racket they just heard. Alright then, so we are level here. Let's just get down to 14,000 feet and just get the aircraft accelerated to its cruise speed about 180, 190. Checking the temperatures and pressures. Pressure's good now, it's about 80 psi, or 80 pounds per square inch, and oil temperature's still quite low. Cruise power set, about 27 to 29 inches, about 27 there, there's 14,000 feet. Let me just get the aircraft accelerated and trimmed out. Turn this racket off. And what I'm going to do now, if you've only just popped into the stream, I've already mentioned at the start here, on my Instagram story, and I'll be able to pop it up here to be fair as well, you'll see the radio range beacon we're going to tune to, but on the Instagram story I put the Morse codes for each sector as well. And we're going to talk about how we navigate using this system. You know, I don't know much about this aircraft, I'm just getting a bit more trimmed out here. So the aircraft's very happy now at 14,000 feet, all trimmed. We'll start a descent shortly as we fly away from the observatory. And I'm sort of I want to head directly northbound here, so with the compass, so you fly north, I want to go to left. So it's the opposite sense. Always make sure you turn in the opposite direction, but it has all the effects of roll and acceleration on the compass. The directional gyro isn't working in the current build here, so let's just make sure we get onto a northerly heading. Give it roll wings level now. We should be going about due north a little bit more. There we are. I think it's very hard to tell if you're climbing and descending. You really miss that. Yeah, look, we're descending. It's really missed that six-pack of instrumentation which you get in modern aircraft. So the artificial horizon is dead in front of you. Here it's like right there. It's a bit awkward to see all the instruments. I just find I'm sort of looking in the wrong place all the time. So you can see, look, we're down here. We're at 13,900 feet. So here we have Little Nav Map, which is a utility which you can download for free. It's really good. It's compatible with several simulators, X-Plane, Microsoft Flight Simulator, P3D, and it's just basically a detailed map of the world with all the nav aids, the airports, and lots of additional features you can add. And as I mentioned at the start here, Wing42 have included a worldwide database of radio range beacons as it was in the 40s and 50s, which you can use to navigate. Now, how does radio range work? It's basically a primitive form of an NDB, which sends out radials only in certain fixed directions. It's not like you can pick any radial like on a VOR. This one is only 4 beams you can fly along. So this is the frequency here, GM217, so I need to tune up to 217 kilohertz, and the radials are 045, 135, 225, and 315. So if you actually have a look at the beacon here, I think I could put a centre rose on here somehow. I'm still quite new to the nav map here, so I'm trying to hand fly here as well. I think there was a little way to get a compass rose on here, but I cannot remember now at all. User points, so these are the user points I made Where is show compass rose? There we are. So that's the compass rose based on my present position. I want to put the compass rose.
Minimums.
There we go.
Approaching minimums.
So I can actually use this. I don't know. Just drifting off here. You can sort of work out what radial we're on using this slightly. So we're on the aircraft's a little bit out of range at the moment. I can't control the zoom much either. So we're on about a 105, 120 radial at the moment. Now, how do we navigate towards this beacon? We need to look in the navigational database for the beacon. So let me just get rid of nav map and show the PDF. Petrich, 25 members of Bubba, thank you very much. Hello, fellow alpaca badge holders. Thank you very much, buddy, for moderating and your continued support as a member. Over 2 years, you are an alpaca badge holder. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Right, let me bring up the database of radio range beacons. So here we are. This is a document included with the Wing42, which has all the radio range beacons simulated, and we want to have the Maui one on page 81. So page 81, I looked this up before the stream. 81, where are you? Maui, there it is. Let me just zoom in. So this is the radio range beacon we need to tune, which is 217. So let's go for 217. Let me get rid of this for a second. Still hand flying here. 14,000 feet. So we're just going to carry on northbound. So I want to show you how the Morse code works. So we need to turn on the radio. CW needs to be on. We need to turn on radio power. And turn up the volume as well. And we need to tune 217. Just make sure we're sort of wings level. Still drifting a little bit here. Just want to head back on a northerly direction. So hard to hand fly do this. You miss an autopilot. So 217 was the frequency, so we're in the right band. Let's rotate this. There we go. So 216, 217. Now, if you listen, you should be able to hear a Morse code. So you hear that Morse code. That Morse code is, I think it's November, dash dots. So what does this tell you? So if I bring up Navigraph here, and the radio range beacon, let me just turn that down as well. So you can turn that right down. There we go. I hope I get this right. Let me bring up here. So if we have a look here at the PDF document, you can see on here, if I zoom in slightly, you have these sort of dashed colours. You see how it's a little bit darker here? And on this side, what that means is inside where you have like the solid line or the solid colour here, so here it's the alpha Morse code. Okay, so if you're getting an alpha Morse code or an A Morse code, that means you're in one of these sectors, and if you're getting a November Morse code, you're in one of these sectors. Now the fact we're getting the November Morse code means that we have to be in either this sector or this sector. Okay, so we know geographically we're in the bottom sector, and there's actually a way of hearing or working out what to do. Now I hear a dot dash louder. Yeah, so Captain Irish, there's different volumes which you can work towards to work out if you're flying towards it or which one is flying inbound. Now if I bring up Navigraph again, mini nav here, you can see if I put that roughly where the beacon is, you can see we're in this quadrant here, which is about 110. So that tells us that we're in the November Morse code range. So I'm trying to work the quadrant out again. 315125. See, I'm still need to hand fly as well. No, my bad. We're getting the alpha Morse code through first. So you hear the alpha Morse code's louder, so we're getting the dot dash. So that means we're in this quadrant here. So what we need to do is sort of fly left. So what I'm going to do is sort of fly westbound until we get a solid tone, because we know we're in this quadrant here. So dot dash are in the alpha here. I think I said November 4. So if we fly westbound, obviously you would be right on it to start with, and we should, I hope, intercept this radial. And when you intercept that radial, you should get a solid tone. And when you get that solid tone, we just go on to a heading magnetic, so the compass is 305 degrees, and then just make subtle changes between them. I hope that makes sense, and I hope I've said that correctly. It's pretty tough. So let's just make sure. Oh, so now my flying's gone to pot. So let's go westbound. Turn this annoying beeping sound down. So it's just really quiet now in the background. So let's go westbound for now. So I need to make a little bit more of a right turn, and we're going to wait till we get a solid Morse code signal. So there's pretty much west, looking at the compass.
50.
Getting back
40,
up to 14,000
30,
feet. So I've just got a hand
20,
fly, monitor the engine instruments, everything still. Hi, the PDF page, thanks. Thank you very much, Anthony Martin, for the $2.50. Really appreciate it, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for your generosity, sir. Glad you joined the stream. Excellent. So, literally, we're now just going to head westbound. And when we get that solid tone, see, you can still the dominating Morse code is alpha. That means that I know I brought the PDF up here. Let me get the document myself. That means we're in this sector here. As soon as you get a solid tone, it means the alpha and November Morse codes are mixed. It's a solid tone. That means you're on that radial. Then you just make that turn and just keep going until it goes silent. Then you're overhead. I hope does that make sense? This is my complete novice, only just learnt myself this afternoon way of navigating using this system sort of thing. Fuel tank change, thanks guys. Oh no, it's good timing. So we're now going to go to aux on, and then we'll go back to left and then sequentially change the tanks. But that's it. Does that make sense anyway? As I said, my rubbish explanation of how this system works is, you know, I'm no expert, but there's a guy on the Wing42 who's developed this into the sim, and this is exactly how it worked. And we just keep it. I know it's very annoying having that beeping sound, and God knows how these guys flew IMC with this in their ear the whole time. And this is just a very basic way of using this system. There's other ways you can use it. Otmar from Wing42 was explaining to me, you can use the volume, the sound, you can tell, and you can actually work out where you are. I have absolutely no clue. I've worked out how to intercept and fly one of the radials inbound and outbound, but if you're here, for example, if you were to spawn here, apparently you can use the system to work out exactly where you are, and I still don't understand how they did that or how that works, but you'll be pleased to know that there is a very in-depth manual included with this product, which explains exactly how to use it in several different ways. So cool, that's it. We'll just carry on flying westbound until we get that solid tone. You can hear the alpha Morse code is still the dominant Morse code, but you can hear very faintly in the background the November Morse code coming in, and when they overlap, we should be on that radial. Primitive version of VOR, easy stuff, exactly, Captain. But you know, it's not really even primitive VOR; it's a primitive NDB essentially, because it operates in the same ranges as an NDB does. Handheld GPS for me, yeah, me too, Russell, if I'm honest. Wish you were in your 737. Yeah, piece of cake, absolutely, Michael Fish after this. My flying look is all over the place. I'm meant to be maintaining 14,000 feet. I'm at 14,300. I'm not monitoring the engine instruments, but they do seem to have all settled down nicely. Oil pressure is, that's 60 pounds per square inch, and temperature about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's all looking nice there. There's 14,000 feet. And you can hear it now, it's getting a little bit stronger, the Morse code. It's almost overlapping now. Can you hear that? So it's still a little bit of the alpha Morse code dominating, but it's exactly when you've got that, oh, my high keeping, my goodness, when you're exactly on the equator, when it's a solid continuous tone. And you imagine doing this in IMC, dodging thunderstorms. You've got no GPS, no VOR. VOR is like the supercomputer in comparison to this system. Right, there's 14,000. Let's get that trimmed out. We can now concentrate on the aviating now when we're navigating. It's almost a solid tone here. And the range of these beacons is quite huge because of the frequency band it operates in. The range of the lower frequencies is quite significant range. You know, I think up to 250 miles. How does that artificial horizon work with no horizon? So you've got a little sky pointer on the triangle here, look. So if I turn right, look, you'll see the sky pointer's pointed off to the left, so you just need to put the sky pointer right on the top triangle. So what do you reckon, guys, listening to that Morse turning it up? Pretty solid tone, I'd say. So if I bring up Navigraph, or a little nav map, and line this up, I think it was the 135 we're looking for. It's getting there. Let me find it. There you go. So almost there on the 135. Sounds like a pretty solid tone. I don't know what this compass rose is set to, if it's true or magnetic north, but to me that sounds very solid. So based on that fact, we can actually turn onto that track inbound now, which is 315. There you go, that's very solid now. So 14,000 feet, we can go on a heading of 315, and then you just keep on that heading. You make adjustments for drift if you knew the wind, and then if you started hearing the dominant November Morse code, you turn right, and if you heard the Alpha Morse code coming in more dominant, you turn left, and you just keep going until it shuts up, basically. That means you're over the beacon, essentially. So we'll do that all the way over. I'll turn this back down, because it's very annoying, and we'll fly. We're not going to use the nav map, we're going to keep listening to the Morse code. Music to your ears, I know. You imagine listening to this the whole time. Right, heading about 315, still having to use the compass here. So it is a magnetic 315, so we can set 315 here as well. I think they've updated all the tracks and the variation based off 2020, I think, is the latest one, because the original ones were based on whenever the radio beacon was built, 40s or 50s. But there's about 315. There we go. I'm going to start descending now. I'm going to turn that down as low as possible. There we are. That's about as little annoying as possible. Now we're going to start our descent. Timing-wise, I've no idea, but you can see the island ahead of us. And if I was to bring up the nav map again, try and find it. There we are. So not far off 135, and I think it's 10 degrees, so that makes sense. We're actually on a magnetic of 135, so we're just going to keep flying in this direction towards the beacon. And then if I bring the PDF up again, I'm just going to reduce a bit of power there, don't want to overspeed. Where's the PDF? Still hand flying. So we're flying inbound, guys, on this radial here, this one here. Very cool. And they have an amazing tutorial flight for you to do, which is like a 2.5 hour flight, hand flown, where basically you operate and fly using radio range navigation all the way to your destination. In fact, I'll find the document they've included for you. Where is it? Radio range, worldwide, facility, charts, I think it's called. It's quite hard to hand fly still. Documentation. There we are. So they've included for the US here Army Air Forces radio facility charts, and it's the entire United States, all the airways that were built off radio range, and you can fly over the entire country. Look at all these look, these are all radio range airways where you navigate using this system, and you can fly. It's all modelled. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely incredible. Anyway, there you go. I think I did an okay explanation. Anyway, we have started our descent. We're going to keep that track of 315. We're at about 305 here. And what I'll actually demonstrate is what happens if we drift a little bit far left. So, question for you guys, if you've been listening, if I start flying, I'm going to try and stay on that radio, but I'm actually going to start flying directly westbound. What should the Morse code change to be dominating, the dominating Morse code? And we can then work out where we're left of track. So let me I forgot I didn't bring Navigraph up there. So there we are. We are flying directly to the beacon. If I start flying westbound, so getting left of that radial, what Morse code are we going to hear? Oil pressure. So, no, don't close. 180. Oil pressure's getting low now. It is getting low. So I need to start increasing the mixture now. We're descending anyway. And I will keep those closed. I should only need to open them slightly, don't I? Oh, I'm just very difficult to operate these. Anyway, so I'm going to fly westbound. November, so yeah, dash dot, correct. You've got it, guys. Dash dot, dash dot. So let's do that. I'm going to fly west on purpose. And as we fly on this heading, you'll notice it'll change. I'm just looking. Don't look at the directional gyro. That doesn't work. So it's about west there. And as we fly here, we should be beginning to hear the November Morse code becoming dominant. Actually, you know what? I'll turn that off for a second because it's really annoying. Give it a couple of minutes, and I think I need to change fuel tanks again. There we are. That's off. So let's go to aux on. So we're going to go back to left. Mega. So we'll go on directly westbound for about a couple of minutes, and then we'll go from there. Mega. Just continue descending. Oil pressure is still a little low, but okay. All temperatures are fine. Got about 20 inches for descent there. We're just doing it about... Okay, I've lost an engine. Why have I lost an engine? Right, I'm increasing power. Something misfired. Oh, that's the left engine. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. I've just increased power slightly. Uh-oh. Oh! Blast! Why? Right, we're going single engine for the rest of the way, guys. Please hold on, other engine. Why is that caught fire? Oil temperatures and oil pressures are all fine. Oh, no idea. Feather. Ugh. And let's blow the bottle. Unbelievable. Right, single engine it is all the way. Let's hope we don't lose the other one. This isn't planned, right, at least I've extinguished the fire. And I hope that isn't the other engine clonking out. I might have to ditch the radio range navigation tutorial. Right, so I've feathered the propeller, dead leg, dead engine. So I've got, oh, yeah, okay, that's the other engine. Right, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done wrong? I don't understand. Well, now I'm really buggered because I don't have any more bottles, so we're going to be land. This is a genuine emergency situation, unplanned during the stream. Unbelievable. Well, I might as well keep that engine running as long as possible because it is on fire, and we're just going to head directly towards land. Nearest airport is probably the one we were planning. I'm not watching it. Oil pressure was too low. Jack. Right, I'm just going to rev the pants out of that engine, keep it going for as long as possible. Oh, it was going so well with the radio range one. It's not going to be the first crash. We'll make it. Well, how high are we? 7,500 feet. Might have to ditch it. How's that radio range going? Oh, there you go. There's the November. So I do need to turn right. Did I actually get the prop feathered? Okay, the prop is feathered. Okay, so that's minimal drag. And there's the last engine going. Great. You want to put a fire out, by the way. You wouldn't keep it running with a fire because you'd lose the wing, especially on an aircraft like this, but it's coughing and splurting all over the place. Wow. Oh. So the nearest land is straight ahead. What is the best glide speed, actually? I think we did have that quoted here. What a nightmare. Single engine procedure, throttle back, prop back, mixture full lean. Okay, well, we have definitely lost that engine, so let's do this. Let's do this. Fuel is off. I've still got my rudder jammed in at the moment. There is rudder trim, but I'm quite comfortable with the rudder at the moment. Fuel, how do I fuel off on one engine? I've got to be careful here. Yeah, just leave it on both because I don't want to cut fuel off there. Right, I'm just going to directly head in this direction. Going into IMC single engine with one engine on fire. Completely safe here. Probably need a better speed here. Is there a single engine glide speed? Oh, I didn't just see that. Just power 34 inches. Bad engine. Okay, gas off. Set fire extinguisher. Done that. Gov generates manual on 100. Best glide rate is 98 miles an hour. Let's start slowing down because we've got way too much drag here. Ball's in the middle. Other engine's running rough. Yeah, definitely something's different. Let's keep the wings level in IMC. Something's definitely different to the versions I tested previously. A little bit more right rudder needed. Step on the ball. Right. Watch the speed there. Just want to get to 90 miles an hour, which is my best glide speed. I want to head in this direction. Morse code is showing November, so I sort of need to head a bit northbound, but I'm sort of also heading towards the nearest piece of land. Right, that's my best glide speed. It's going down at 110 before we're retrimmed. Still got my right rudder in. Can't really see it much, but I don't need that much, to be fair. Right. There's land here. Might go for a beach landing. So listening to the Morse code, we still need to go northbound a little bit more. We're nearly back on that radial, but I think the only airport is to the north here. We'll get you down. We'll do it. To left engine restart. Good point, actually. Right. This is going to be hard. Fuel prop is feathered. I need to unfeather it first, so I think I push this in. And how do I? Can you actually? If you go fast, how do you? The only way to spin it would be to go fast to get the propeller to spin. So I've got to unfeather it first. There's no starter motor on here. So we're nearly getting back on that solid tone. We're sort of heading northwest. Ooh. It's unfeathered. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Are we back in business on engine number 1? I did put a fire extinguisher in it, and it was on fire. No, and that one. Who told me to restart it? Right, I definitely need best glide speed now. There's 90. What's our height? 5,000 feet. Land should be just the other side of this cloud, but now I'm really buggered. Right, whoever was in chat that told me to restart the engine, damn you. And it isn't the one rule. If you have an engine that's been on fire, don't try and restart it. Francois, bad idea. Sorry, Captain. Land ahoy. It's sort of that one other engine's been on fire for a long time. It's still holding on though. The thing is, in real life, guys, the wing would have caught fire by now. The fuel in their lines, yeah, you'd be dead. We'd be long gone. I'd have attempted a ditching. Radio range is working still quite well. Closest airport is the northwest tip of the island. That's the one we're planning to get to, N2. That is PHOG, Papa Hotel Oscar Golf on Maui. God damn it. We're going to do this again, guys, but this time I need to really... The documentation hasn't got too much guidance on engine management and how to operate and keep what temperature and pressures you need to operate. And like I said, the first the test sectors we did, I didn't have any problems at all. I completed the full route. The original plan was actually to land here and carry on. And I did the full route multiple times with no problems at all with the engines at all. But I think we're pretty much back on that radial now, flying northwest. Nearly got that solid tone again. Maybe I could land on the radio range beacon. 4,000 feet. You know what? Could I actually try to get to this airport? Right, we've always got the solid tone. So we're back on that radial. Maybe I'll actually find up the little nav here. Let me get it up for me. There we are. So we're pretty much on that 135 radial. That's where we caught fire. Look, and I've sort of deserted it. Right, we're going to make land. It's just, can we get to our planned destination? Get to a runway. Ideally, you want to get to a runway. We're at 90 miles an hour. We're going a little bit fast. We're not quite at the glide speed, so we're still getting power from this engine, which is on fire. Turn on some dramatic music. There's only one fire extinguisher yet. Important question: are the fuel tanks catching fire modelled? I don't think so. A bit more rudder here. That's because I'm flying slower. Obviously, flight controls become less effective. I think that's it, boys. Come on. No, we've lost it all. Let's try to... Still trying to... Still trying there. Right, let's trim for 90. I feel a bit like Sully. There's no... I can't even attempt to put that fire out. I mean, I could try and dive, but like they did in Memphis Belle in the film, but I think that's as good as dead. So I think I'm just going to feather it. I'm going to feather it and get, reduce the drag as much as possible. And we're going to have to try and find a decent spot on land to ditch this. Should I tune the radio up? What was the radio frequency so you can enjoy some 1930s music whilst I try and do a ditching? 940, guys. I did manage to get that engine feathered. I should be concentrating on other things than tuning a radio. Oh, no. 940. There it is. I think it's coming in. I swear I heard something. Enjoy, guys! Is the gear going to come down? Yeah, it's gravity fed. Now, the glide range on this is pretty good. Massive wing. We're doing about 110 miles an hour. It seems like it's doing really well. This stream has been hilarious. Right, I'm eyeing up this little bit of beach here. It's like my powered off landing, you know, I practice it, but that beach is look at our glide right here. So gliding really nicely here at 90 miles an hour, just slightly faster. It's all in trim perfectly, and look how that beach is staying in the same point in the windscreen. That is my target, guys. I might have to drop the gear a little bit sooner, but that's looking good. This music, it couldn't even be any better. Would you have survived this? If the engines hadn't caught fire and we just genuinely, you know, had lost power and killed both engines, you'd probably survive the fire, though. Like this, it would have spread by now, and you'd be dead. That's what go around. Unbelievable. Now, actually a little bit high for here, so all I might do is just put a little bit of rudder in here. A little bit of left wing down. That's going to decrease our performance. That's okay, this is helping our rate of descent here. Keeping that there. So, right rudder, left wing down. Believe it or not, this is actually written in the 737 Flight Crew Training Manual, I think, as one of the landing techniques, but it is not approved. My operator. Right, let's neutralise everything. See the airspeed shoot up again. Right, looking good. We'll drop the gear as late as possible. I don't mind landing a bit fast. Actually, it's going to be a bit too fast here. Bit more rudder. Good. Keep it about 110 there. Actually, if I keep this in all the way till touchdown, this might work. Right, get ready to drop the gear. Right, gear's coming down. Oh, that's had a massive amount of drag, actually, more than I was expecting. Right, let's just centralise that here. Right, speed's 90. Okay, beach is looking good. Ooh, might have been a bit ambitious with the gear there. It's creating a lot more drag than I was expecting. Oh, no. That was completely my fault. Oh, no. Don't stretch it, don't stretch it. Oh, I blew it with the gear. Right, we're going for a ditching instead. Next best option. Let's try and get the gear up. Oh no, I so could have made that beach as well. Ah, we're down. Ah, there we go. We so could have made that beach. We so could have done it. The gear had a huge impact on the drag, much more than I was expecting. We probably would have survived that, but so close. Actually, the beach didn't. No, it would have been perfect. Actually, damn it! Just dropped the gear too early. We so would have made that. I'm really disappointed. Oh well. Miracle of the island. Well, unfortunately, it hasn't put the fire out. I did actually notice a nice little shanty town here. Oh, look. Someone there on his rocking chair has just watched a 24/7 ditch outside of his house. Okay, the waves. Almost paradise. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, I don't think there's any way of fixing this apart from restarting the flight. Really, it's such a shame. The radio's waterproof at least. Now, what happens if I try and slow this? Oh, has it actually put the engines out? Because the airport I was trying to get to is just to the north of the island. No, that's just made everything burn again. Oh. Yeah, that hasn't worked. I'll attempt to, but I'm never going to make the airport. Oh. Now swim to beach, unbelievable. At least the fire goes off naturally. Yeah, with water. Actually, you know what? Ditching is probably... Ditching's not a bad option if you realise, like I did last minute, you're not going to make the planned landing airport. You want to be able to ditch. Ditching on water is going to be better than trying to do a bulked up landing, gear up landing on land. That's always going to result in more damage or anything like that. Guys, I want to end it there. Let me just see if I can use some of Microsoft's magic. And isn't there a way of... So I can at least do one landing. Not objectives. I think there's a way of... No flight plan. I put a flight plan in. Oh, damn it. I want to basically just do a landing. So let me just go back to the main menu here. Oh, I'm gutted. I'm so gutted that we couldn't actually... complete the flight there. At least, you know, couldn't make the beach. Just so much went wrong. so much went wrong. The radio navigation was great though. We just ditched here. Look, this is exactly, there we are. There's the beach we were trying to get onto. We ended up ditching just here, and the airport was way up here to the north. I was never going to make that. So what I'll do is just do a little landing. Let me just set that as departure, 1500 feet. Fly, just go live time, live weather, and we'll do a landing with 2 engines running. I hope this works at least. I love you flying this in, but this is comedy gold. Controller usually starts the engines the old school way, but once I think the engines are on fire, I don't think they can be recovered. Damn it. I should have used the older update. Right, anyway, look. Ready to fly. Ah, you hear that sound? I wanted to show you that anyway. That's the gear knockdown sound. So let's drop the gear. No flaps, remember, so I'm just going to bring the speed back to 60 miles an hour. I've got a beautiful aircraft now. Engines are all working fine, albeit the oil temperature's there. But I'd be really interested to actually know what caused those engines to concat and catch fire. Obviously, they've overheated, but it looked like everything was cold. The oil temperature was cold, the cylinder head temperature was cold. I don't know, maybe it's just because it is an early build version. Anyway, if you just joined the stream, we've had a completely successful flight. We're just on approach here after having no problems whatsoever. And we're just turning onto a sort of like a 45-degree intercept onto final. The alarm sounds great, isn't it? It's like one of those old war klaxons. But we're going to come back again, guys. I'm going to try and do another sector next time, leaving this airport, continuing westbound to the main island of Oahu, where Honolulu is. We're going to go to Pearl Harbor, and that will be the second attempt at this flight once I've sort of digested what happened and realise what was going on. Right, on final now, so on approach about 80 miles an hour. We're doing about 110. No flaps, massive wing on this thing. The radio was great, very much so. Light and variable winds here on final. Take a bit more power off, a little bit high. Start reducing the speed to about 80 to 60 miles an hour. But once you get this aircraft from A to B with no problems, very rewarding indeed. So speed's slowly going back to 80 miles an hour. At this speed it's very wallowy, huge wing. Looking good. There's is 80. Once you approach the threshold, I'll reduce the power just to above idle. And we'll start slowly bringing the speed back to 60. Looking good. This is our planned original destination. Are your feet drying off? No comment. Oh, I'm gutted I didn't make that beach. I'm so gutted. See, on the 7.3, I'm very comfortable if we're in that situation where to drop the gear. But that really caught me out how much drag that was. Rattly old thing. Right, start reducing a bit more power. Don't take too much because the engines will conk out again. It's about 75 miles an hour. There we go. So slow. 60 miles, that's about 55 knots. Rounding off now. There we are, we're down. Speed brakes up, reverses. Beautiful. There's the tailwheel. And I think you can't run them too low a power setting because the engine's just cut off. Go from there. Landing was a slow-mo, yeah, it looked like it. But yeah, 60 miles an hour final approach speed was at 52, 55 knots. Beautiful. Right, we'll make our next right, we'll make a short taxi. And that's it. No, anything different. Oh, it sounds like... See, look at, yeah, those engines are about to die again. See, I've put a lot of power on. There they are, so I was very close to losing them there. You've got to be very careful. Beautiful. That was a grounding bit either. I've had enough disasters today. I'm just going to park it randomly here on the apron. A bit of differential braking and handbrake turn. Right, let's set the parking brake. I'll increase the RPM. You can see, look. Yeah, ran it too low. Look, well, the engines have just gone out on their own because I ran them too low and the RPM dropped off. Oh, so hard. Between 800 and 1,000, yeah. Left it too late, too low on RPM, and I've lost RPM there. It's so much to learn with this, but guys, now I've got a taste for it. We're going to do a full flight again with no problems. Oh, that was tough. Right, well, might as well leave the engine shut down. Parking brake is set. We'll now put the throttles at idle. Oh look, the RPM was was all the way back here anyway at the start of the flight. That's not good. Parking brake set. Let's turn the fuel off. There we go. Let's go off here. Excellent. Ready power's off. Battery. Everything was off. I didn't really enjoy being loaded up in flight there, and everything was turned off there. But anyway, here we are in Maui. I can't remember where we are. Another sector today, no, because I am working tomorrow, Yaroslav. I was planning to do 2 sectors for today's stream. I'd in fact flown the 2 test sectors with none of the problems I had today. I've actually done this flight about 3 times already with radio range navigation. Had none of the issues I experienced today. And then I did the next sector, you know, just left the aircraft where it was, where we did another hour flight to the island of Oahu to Honolulu. I used this beta version, and about 30 minutes before the stream, Otmar gave me an updated version, which is, for me, it's causing issues with regards to operating the aircraft. I mean, I was all hunky-dory, no problems at all testing it, but that's my excuse anyway. But it was very fun to experience and to try and deal with the challenges we were posed with here. Again, remember, this is a work in progress. This is not representative of the final version there. I was just speaking to Otmar before the stream, and he did say that, I think it was just here, he said something about it running a little bit hotter or something. You've got to be a bit careful off there. So he said, yeah. He said, cinder head temperatures have been adjusted to develop more heat during the cruise, so maybe that needs to be fine-tuned or something there, because I didn't have any of those problems today, and I didn't change anything at all. But it was very fun nonetheless, and we'll jump into the aircraft again very soon once there's been another update, which makes it easier, and I hope you enjoyed the aircraft as well. It's going to be available, I think, from the 2nd or 4th of April. It's only $20 US. Experimental pricing, Otmar said they're using here to make it more accessible to more people, easily worth more than that. I hope I gave a bit of a decent demonstration of how the aircraft is to be operated. Obviously incorrectly, because everything went to pot there, but certainly with radio range navigation, that was quite nice to demonstrate as well. It was a very adventurous first sector, and no doubt the issues I experienced will be addressed, or perhaps it was just me being bad, so definitely the latter. Guys, that's it. I don't have any replay on Microsoft Flight Simulator, but massive thanks to Wing42 for sending out their Boeing 247. It's been great fun. We'll be flying again, as said, very soon. To everyone that came in during the stream, thank you very much for popping in. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you all. It'll probably be the end of this week, so I'm flying the next few days back on the summer schedule now, so looking forward to it. Stay safe, and I'll see you all soon. Cheerio.